Monica stood frozen in their home office, her trembling hand covering her mouth as she watched the security footage on the computer screen. There on their marital bed was her husband Jerome, tangled with a woman she recognized as his secretary, Brittany. The timestamp showed yesterday afternoon, when he'd claimed to be in a business meeting. The woman's red dress was thrown carelessly on the floor, the same dress Monica had complimented at the company picnic last month. Jerome's wedding ring sat on the nightstand, catching the light like a cruel joke. Her hand instinctively moved to her belly, where their fourth child grew. 4 months along and she hadn't even told him yet, wanting to surprise him on their anniversary next week. Their 3 daughters were downstairs doing homework, blissfully unaware that their world was about to shatter. The front door slammed. Jerome was home. Monica quickly closed the video file, saving it to a USB drive with shaking fingers. She heard his footsteps on the stairs, heavy and confident like always. He walked into the office without knocking, his expression cold and distant. "We need to talk," he said, not meeting her eyes. Monica noticed the way his jaw set, the same expression he wore when firing employees. "About what?" "I want a divorce." The words hung in the air like poison. "I've already talked to my lawyer. You need to take the girls and leave." "Leave?" Monica's voice cracked. "This is our home. We've been married for 12 years, Jerome. Our daughters are your responsibility now." He pulled out a folder from his briefcase. "I'm keeping the house, the cars, the investments. You can take your personal belongings and the girls' things. I'll give you some money to get started, but don't expect more." Monica felt her legs weaken. She gripped the desk for support. "You can't just throw us out. What about Sophia's piano recital next week? Grace's science fair? Faith just started preschool here. Not my problem anymore." Jerome's eyes were like stone. "Brittany is pregnant. With my son. A son, Monica. After 3 tries, you only gave me daughters." The cruelty of his words sliced through her. Monica wanted to scream that she was pregnant too, but something held her back. A protective instinct she didn't fully understand yet. "Daughters are just as valuable as sons," she managed to say. Jerome laughed, bitter and harsh. "Really? Who's going to carry on my family name? Who's going to take over my business? Girls just get married and become someone else's problem. I've wasted 12 years. "Wasted?" Monica's shock transformed into anger. "Our daughters are not a waste. They're brilliant, kind, talented, and expensive. Dance classes, piano lessons, all those dolls and dresses. Boys are simpler, stronger, better investments." He straightened his tie, a gesture she once found charming. "You have 48 hours to get out. My lawyer will send the papers. Jerome, please, think about what you're doing. The girls love you. The girls will be fine. Kids adapt." He turned to leave, then paused. "Oh, and don't bother trying to fight this. I've already moved most of the money to accounts you can't touch. Accept my offer or you'll get nothing." Monica watched him leave, her mind racing. She pulled out her phone and started recording as he walked away, catching his retreating figure. "Jerome," she called out, and he turned. The phone captured everything as she asked, "So you're really choosing her over your 3 daughters? You don't want them at all?" "I never wanted daughters," he said clearly, his voice carrying perfectly to her phone's microphone. 3 strikes and you're out. Brittany's giving me what I actually want. A legacy. A real heir. The girls were just expensive mistakes." He left, and Monica stopped recording. She stood there, one hand on her belly, feeling the tiny flutter of movement from the baby he didn't know about. The baby that, according to the ultrasound from last week, was a boy. The son he claimed to want so desperately. She looked at the USB drive in her hand, then at her phone with the recording. Evidence. Protection. Weapons he didn't know she had. Going downstairs, she found her daughters in the living room. Sophia was helping Grace with multiplication tables while Faith colored in her princess book. They looked up at her with Jerome's eyes but her smile. "Mommy, is Daddy coming to my recital?" Sophia asked. Monica knelt beside them, pulling all 3 into her arms. "We're going to go on an adventure, my loves. Just the 4 of us." 5. Faith corrected, patting Monica's belly. "Baby makes 5. Monica's tears finally came, but she smiled through them. "That's right, sweetheart. 5. The next morning came too quickly. Monica had spent the night packing essentials while the girls slept, her mind calculating what they needed versus what would fit in her small SUV. Jerome had already left for work, but not before disabling her credit cards and changing the locks on the storage unit where they kept holiday decorations and the girls' baby items. "Mommy, why are all our clothes in suitcases?" Grace asked over breakfast, her 6-year-old eyes too perceptive. We're going to stay somewhere else for a while, Monica said carefully, pouring cereal. Like a long sleepover. But I have show and tell tomorrow, Sophia protested. I'm supposed to bring my science project. Monica's heart broke. The solar system model they'd spent weeks building sat in Sophia's room, too large to take. We'll make an even better one, sweetheart. Her phone buzzed. A text from Jerome, movers coming at noon. Be gone by then. She had 4 hours. Monica moved through the house like a whirlwind, filling garbage bags with clothes and necessities. She grabbed important documents from the safe, birth certificates, social security cards, her degree that had been collecting dust. She found their photo albums and hesitated. Pictures of happier times, when Jerome held baby Sophia with pride, when he taught Grace to ride her bike. Why's all of it? She took only one photo, her daughters at the beach last summer, laughing in the waves. Faith found her crying in the bathroom, trying to fit medicine and toiletries into a bag. Mommy sad? The 4-year-old asked, wrapping her small arms around Monica's leg. Mommy's just tired, baby. Monica lifted her daughter, inhaling the sweet scent of her strawberry shampoo. Can you help me pack your special toys? As they packed, Monica's phone rang constantly. Jerome's family, all telling her to be reasonable, to leave quietly, to think of the girl's reputation. Not one asked if they needed help or where they would go. At 11:30, Monica loaded the last bag into the car. The girls stood in the driveway, confused and scared. What about Princess Whiskers? Faith cried, remembering their cat. Daddy will take care of her, Monica lied. Jerome hated the cat. As she backed out of the driveway, she saw Brittany's red convertible pulling up. The woman had the audacity to wave, her left hand sporting a massive diamond ring. Monica kept driving. Where are we going, Mommy? Sophia asked from the back seat. Monica thought of her grandmother's house, sitting empty since her death 2 years ago. It was small, needed work, but it was hers. Jerome didn't know about it, she'd inherited it before they met and never put his name on the deed. We're going to Great-Grandma Rose's house, she said, trying to sound excited. Remember how much you loved visiting her? But it's old and creaky, Grace said. Then we'll make it new and beautiful, Monica replied, meeting their eyes in the rearview mirror. We're strong girls, aren't we? The strongest. Faith cheered, not understanding but feeding off her mother's determined energy. As they drove away from their gated community, Monica's phone buzzed with a bank alert. Jerome had deposited $50,000 into her personal account. His idea of generous. 12 years of marriage, 3 children, and he valued them at $50,000. She pulled into a gas station and saw a homeless woman with a cardboard sign. Abandoned by husband. 3 kids. Anything helps. Monica handed her a $20 bill, recognizing herself in the woman's desperate eyes. That could be her if she wasn't careful. Her phone rang. Jerome. You gone yet? His voice was impatient. We're out, Monica said flatly. Good. Don't try contacting me. I'll have my lawyer send support payments monthly. $5,000 should cover it. $5,000 for 3 children? It's more than generous. Brittany says. Monica hung up. She looked at her daughters in the back seat, then at her belly. She made a decision. Jerome would never know about this baby. This son he claimed to want so desperately would never know his father's rejection. She turned her phone to record. Girls, can you tell me how you're feeling right now? Confused, Sophia said honestly. Scared, Grace added. Hungry. Faith contributed, making her sisters laugh despite everything. And Daddy said we had to leave? Monica prompted gently. He said he doesn't live with us anymore, Sophia repeated what she'd overheard. He said he has a new family coming. Every word recorded. Every abandonment documented. Grandmother Rose's house sat on a quiet street in a working-class neighborhood, its paint peeling and garden overgrown. The contrast to their former mansion was stark. Monica watched her daughters' faces fall as they pulled into the cracked driveway. It looks haunted, Grace whispered. It looks like an adventure, Monica corrected, forcing enthusiasm into her voice. Come on, let's explore our new kingdom. The house smelled of dust and memories. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen that hadn't been updated since the 70s. But it was theirs. No mortgage, no Jerome, no threats. Monica set the girls to work making it feel like home while she assessed their situation. $50,000 seemed like a lot until she did the math. Private school for 3 girls. Food, clothes, utilities, medical bills. Her pregnancy. It would disappear fast. She needed a job. That night, after setting up sleeping bags in the larger bedroom for the girls, Monica sat at the old kitchen table with her laptop. Her resume was 12 years out of date. Before marrying Jerome, she'd been a programmer, good at it too. But technology had changed. Her skills were obsolete. "Mommy?" Sophia appeared in the doorway, rubbing her eyes. "I can't sleep. It's too quiet here." Monica pulled her eldest onto her lap. "I know, baby. Change is hard. Why doesn't Daddy want us anymore?" The question she'd been dreading. Monica chose her words carefully. Sometimes adults make choices that don't make sense. But it's not about you. You're perfect exactly as you are. "Brittany is prettier than you," Sophia said quietly. "I heard Grandma Janet say so." Monica's anger flared, but she kept her voice gentle. "Pretty is just one thing a person can be. You know what's better? Being smart, kind, brave, loyal. You and your sisters have all of those things. Do you hate Daddy now?" Monica considered lying, but Sophia was too smart for that. "I'm very disappointed in him. But I don't want you to hate him. He's still your father." "A bad father," Sophia said matter-of-factly. Monica couldn't argue with that. The next morning brought new challenges. Enrolling the girls in public school required documents still at the house. Monica had to call Jerome's assistant to retrieve them, enduring the woman's condescending tone. "Mr. Harrison is very busy with the wedding preparations," the assistant said. "Perhaps you could have been more organized during your departure." Wedding preparations. He wasn't even divorced yet. At the school, the secretary was kind, but the differences were obvious. No uniform, larger classes, older buildings. Sophia adapted quickly, but Grace cried at drop-off, and Faith's preschool had a 6-month waiting list. Monica found a daycare for Faith that cost a fortune, then drove to the library to use their computer. She couldn't afford internet at the house yet. She applied for 20 jobs in 3 hours, her programming background making her qualified for exactly none of them. Her phone rang. An unknown number. "Monica Harrison?" A warm female voice asked. "This is Patricia Coleman from TechStart Solutions. We received your application. Your background is interesting, but your skills are outdated. However, I like your cover letter. Your honesty about starting over resonated with me. Can you come in tomorrow?" Monica's hand went to her belly. She was showing, but loose clothing could hide it for a while. "Yes, absolutely." "Great. And Monica? I've been where you are. Single mother, starting over. If you're willing to learn, I'm willing to teach." That evening, Monica sold her wedding ring at a pawn shop. The $20,000 ring Jerome had proposed with got her $3,000 in cash. She used it to buy interview clothes from a thrift store, groceries, and a month of internet service. While the girls did homework at the kitchen table, Monica studied programming tutorials online. Everything had changed, but the logic was the same. She could do this. "Mommy, you look tired," Grace observed. "I'm learning new things," Monica explained. "Just like you're learning multiplication." "Is it hard?" "Very. But you know what we do when things are hard. We try harder," all 3 girls chanted, a phrase she taught them years ago. That night, Monica felt the baby move strongly. Her little secret, her hidden ace. She whispered to her belly, "You're going to be so loved, little one. You'll never doubt it for a second." The interview at TechStart Solutions changed everything. Patricia Coleman was a force of nature, a black woman who'd built her startup from nothing after her own divorce. "I don't usually hire people without current skills," Patricia said bluntly, reviewing Monica's resume. "But I recognize something in you. Desperation mixed with determination. That combination can move mountains." "I can learn anything," Monica promised. "I just need a chance." Patricia studied her for a long moment. "You're pregnant." Monica's hand flew to her stomach. Yes. But I can work through it after. I won't let it affect." "Relax. I had my son while bootstrapping this company. We're remote first anyway. Can you start Monday?" The relief nearly broke Monica's composure. "Thank you. You won't regret this." The job was entry-level, handling customer support while learning coding on the side. The pay wasn't much, but it was remote, flexible, and Patricia included healthcare. Monica threw herself into the work, studying after the girls went to bed, practicing code until her eyes burned. 3 months passed in a blur. The house slowly transformed, fresh paint bought with her first paycheck, a garden planted with the girls, furniture from garage sales making it feel like home. The girls adjusted to their new school. Sophia made friends quickly, her natural leadership shining. Grace joined the art club. Faith thrived in daycare, her sunny personality winning over everyone. Monica hid her pregnancy with increasingly creative wardrobe choices. On video calls she stayed seated, strategic books and plants blocking the view. She told no one except Mrs. Rodriguez next door, a grandmother who'd taken them under her wing. "Why you no tell anyone about the baby?" Mrs. Rodriguez asked one evening watching the girls play in the backyard. "Their father doesn't know," Monica admitted. "And I want to keep it that way. He should pay for this child too. He should do a lot of things." Monica rubbed her belly. "But this baby will never feel unwanted. Never feel like a burden or a disappointment. That's worth more than his money." Late at night, while reviewing customer complaints for TechStart, Monica had an idea. Parents kept asking for better tools to manage custody exchanges, communicate with difficult co-parents, track expenses for court. She knew that pain intimately now. She started sketching out an app design. Not just for custody issues but for single parents managing everything alone. Scheduling, budgeting, connecting with resources, building community. She called it Single Strong. Patricia noticed her initiative during a team meeting. "Monica, you've resolved more tickets than anyone this month. And your code reviews are improving faster than expected." "I have good motivation," Monica replied, thinking of her daughters. "Show me what you're working on," Patricia said after the meeting ended. Reluctantly, Monica shared her app concept. Patricia's eyes lit up. "This is brilliant. The market's huge and underserved. I want to incubate this within TechStart. You'll lead the project and we'll split the equity. Deal?" Monica nearly cried. "Deal." Development happened at night, during lunch breaks, whenever she could steal moments. The girls thought mommy was playing computer games. Her belly grew harder to hide. She started declining video calls, claiming camera issues. Then came the ultrasound she couldn't miss. 28 weeks. Mrs. Rodriguez watched the girls. "You want to know the gender?" the technician asked. Monica nodded, though she'd suspected for weeks. "Congratulations, it's a boy." "A boy." The son Jerome destroyed their family to have was right here, growing inside the wife he'd discarded. The irony was sharp enough to cut. That night she told the girls about their brother. "A baby?" Faith squealed. "A real baby?" "But Daddy doesn't live with us," Sophia said, always practical. "How will we take care of a baby alone?" "The same way we do everything," Monica said. "Together." Grace touched Monica's belly gently. "Will Daddy want us back when he finds out it's a boy?" The question broke Monica's heart. "This is our secret for now, okay? Our special surprise. Can you keep the secret?" 3 small heads nodded solemnly. Meanwhile, Single Strong took shape. Monica poured every ounce of pain, frustration, and hope into the code. Patricia provided resources and mentorship. They soft-launched to a small test group. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Single parents desperately needed this tool. They needed community, resources, dignity. The app provided all 3. "We're onto something huge," Patricia said, reviewing the early metrics. "But Monica, you're about to pop. When are you going on leave?" "I'm not," Monica said firmly. "I'll work until delivery and after. I can't afford to stop." Patricia looked at her with knowing eyes. "When I had my son, I gave birth on a Tuesday and was answering emails by Thursday. I understand. But you'll need help." "I have help." Monica thought of Mrs. Rodriguez, of her daughters stepping up in ways children shouldn't have to. "We're stronger than we look." Labor started during a product meeting. Monica kept her camera off, muting herself during contractions, typing responses in the chat while timing them on her phone. "Monica, you okay?" Patricia asked privately. "Fine," Monica typed back, then muted again as another wave hit. She made it through the meeting, assigned her tasks to a colleague, then calmly told Mrs. Rodriguez it was time. The girls were at school. Perfect timing. At the hospital, she registered alone. The forms asked for the father's information. She left it blank. "No father?" the nurse asked gently. "No father," Monica confirmed. Daniel came into the world at 3:47 a.m., screaming and perfect. 7 pounds of potential that Jerome would never know about. Monica held him, studying his features. He had Jerome's nose, but her spirit she could already tell. Mrs. Rodriguez brought the girls after school. They crept into the hospital room like they were approaching something sacred. "He's so small," Sophia whispered. "Can I hold him?" Grace asked. "Baby," Faith declared, then more quietly, "My baby?" "Our baby," Monica corrected. "This is Daniel. Your brother." She'd chosen the name carefully. It meant, "God is my judge. Let Jerome be judged by a higher power than family court." Patricia visited that evening with a gift basket and a laptop. I figured you'd want to keep working. The app went viral today. Tech blogs picked it up. We have 10,000 downloads. 10,000. Monica stared at the number while Daniel nursed. 10,000 single parents finding support through her pain. She went home after 2 days, no one to sign her out, no one to drive them. Mrs. Rodriguez helped, but Monica walked into that small house carrying her son with her daughters flanking her like tiny bodyguards. We're complete now, Sophia declared. Our family is complete. Monica worked through the newborn haze. Coding while Daniel slept on her chest, answering emails while pumping, updating features during 3 a.m. feedings. The girls helped more than children should, Sophia making sandwiches, Grace entertaining Faith, all of them taking turns holding Daniel while Monica showered. Single Strong exploded. 50,000 users in the first month. Investors started calling. Patricia fielded them while Monica recovered and worked. Then came the magazine article that changed everything. From abandoned wife to tech CEO, Monica Harrison's Single Strong story. They'd found her somehow, pieced together her journey. The article went viral, but Monica had been careful. No mention of Daniel. No recent photos. Just her story of rebuilding. Her phone rang at midnight 2 weeks later. Jerome. She let it go to voicemail. Monica, I saw the article. We need to talk. Call me. She deleted it. More calls followed. Texts. Emails. She ignored them all, focusing on her children and her company. Single Strong hit 100,000 users. An investment firm offered $2 million for 30% equity. Patricia negotiated them down to 20%. Monica was officially a millionaire. On paper at least. She kept it quiet, maintaining their simple life. The house got necessary repairs, the girls got new clothes, but nothing flashy. She was building something bigger than revenge. Social media told its own story though. Jerome's wedding photos appeared online. A lavish affair that must have cost hundreds of thousands. Brittany glowed in designer white, her hand constantly on her still flat stomach. The pregnancy he'd blown up their life for. Comments poured in. Didn't he just divorce Monica? 3 daughters abandoned for this? Brittany was the secretary, right? The narrative was building without Monica lifting a finger. Then came the twist Monica hadn't expected. An old colleague from Jerome's company reached out privately. Thought you should know. Brittany's not pregnant. Never was. She's been faking it to lock him down. Plans to claim miscarriage after the wedding. Monica stared at the message, Daniel sleeping in her arms. Jerome had destroyed their family for a lie. He'd thrown away 3 daughters for an illusion. She could expose it all. One post, one reveal, and his world would crumble. Instead, she kissed Daniel's head and kept working. The best revenge wasn't destroying Jerome. It was building something so beautiful, so successful, that his destruction would pale in comparison. Success would be her revenge. And it was just beginning. 2 years passed like a whirlwind. Daniel took his first steps in the same week. Single Strong hit 1 million users. Monica watched her son toddle across the kitchen while simultaneously fielding calls from Forbes and TechCrunch. Mama? Daniel called, his chubby hands reaching for her. Coming, baby, she said, putting the reporter on hold. The contrast between her 2 lives was stark. By day, she was Monica Harrison, rising tech star, featured on magazine covers and speaking at conferences. By night, she was just mom, making mac and cheese and checking homework. You're going to be on TV? Sophia asked, now 10 and wise beyond her years. Just a small interview, Monica downplayed. My friends saw you in their mom's magazine, Grace added. They think you're famous. I'm not famous. I just help people. The truth was more complex. Single Strong had evolved from an app to a movement. Support groups formed through the platform. Resources for legal aid, counseling, and childcare connected parents in need. Monica had accidentally built something that mattered. Patricia had stepped back to advisor status, giving Monica full control. You've outgrown me, she said proudly. This is your empire now. Empire. Monica looked around their modest home, toys scattered on floors. She mopped herself and laughed. Some empire. But the numbers didn't lie. The company valuation sat at 50 million. Acquisition offers poured in weekly. Monica refused them all. This was bigger than money now. Then she saw the news that made her pause. Jerome's company had lost its biggest client. The article mentioned leadership changes and strategic restructuring, corporate speak for disaster. Her phone rang. Janet, Jerome's mother. Monica, dear, I know we haven't spoken, but I wanted to check on the girls. 2 years of silence and now she called. They're wonderful, Monica replied carefully. I saw your success. Very impressive. Jerome must be proud. Monica almost laughed. Jerome doesn't know anything about our lives. Oh, well, I thought perhaps, given his current difficulties, you might be feeling generous. There it was. They wanted her help. His difficulties aren't my concern. But Monica, you were married for so long. Surely you don't want to see him suffer? He didn't mind seeing me and his daughters suffer. The silence stretched before Janet spoke again. Brittany lost the baby. And the second one. The doctors say she can't carry to term. Monica felt nothing. No satisfaction, no sympathy. Just nothing. I'm sorry for their loss. Perhaps if Jerome knew about your success, your beautiful daughter's thriving. Goodbye, Janet. Monica hung up. That night, she watched her 4 children at dinner. Sophia helped Daniel with his fork while Grace told a story about art class and Faith performed a dance she'd learned. They'd built this without Jerome. They didn't need him now. But the universe wasn't done with its irony. The next morning brought an unexpected visitor. Monica opened the door to find Brittany, designer clothes hanging loose on her thin frame, eyes red from crying. What are you doing here? I need your help, Brittany said desperately. No. Please. Just 5 minutes. Against her better judgment, Monica let her in, keeping Daniel in his playpen where Brittany couldn't see him clearly. Jerome's losing everything, Brittany said. The business is failing. He's drinking. He found out I lied about the first pregnancy, and now he blames me for everything. And I know you have money now. Influence. You could save his company. Monica laughed, actually laughed. Why would I do that? Because you loved him once. Because of your daughters. My daughters who he called expensive mistakes? Those daughters? Brittany flinched. He didn't mean that. He meant every word. Monica stood. You need to leave. You're really going to let him fail? I'm not letting him do anything. His choices, his consequences. Brittany's eyes hardened. You always were cold. No wonder he left you. He left me for a fake pregnancy and a younger woman who's now begging his ex-wife for help. How's that working out? After Brittany left, Monica's hands shook. Not from anger or fear, but from the realization of how far she'd come. That woman's desperation used to be her life. Now she had power, success, and most importantly, peace. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number with a photo attached. Jerome, looking haggard, outside what appeared to be a courthouse. The message read, bankruptcy filing today. Thought you should know. Monica deleted it and went back to work. She had a conference keynote to prepare. The topic, rising from ashes, building success from failure. The irony wasn't lost on her. The Forbes interview was supposed to be routine. Monica sat in her new office. She'd finally moved single-strong into proper headquarters, while the photographer captured shots of her at her desk. One more thing, the journalist said, smiling. Our readers love family angles. Tell me about your children. For daughters, right? 3 daughters. Monica corrected, then froze. She'd been careful, so careful, but the journalist was looking at her knowingly. Our fact-checker found birth records. Daniel Harrison, born 2 years ago. Your son. Monica's mind raced. Denying it would only make them dig deeper. Yes, Daniel is my son. Interesting timing given your divorce. Your ex-husband famously wanted sons, according to court documents. Court documents. Of course they'd found those. My children are off limits for this article, Monica said firmly. Of course. But Monica, this is part of your story. A powerful part. That night, Monica knew the storm was coming. She prepared the girls. People might find out about Daniel soon, she told them over dinner. Will Daddy know? Sophia asked, always direct. Probably. Will he try to take Daniel? Grace worried. No one's taking anyone, Monica assured them. We're a family. We stay together. The article dropped online at midnight. The Secret Son, How Monica Harrison Built an Empire While Hiding Her Ultimate Revenge. By morning it was everywhere. Monica's phone exploded. Calls, texts, emails. She ignored them all until Patricia called. You need to see this, Patricia said. Jerome had posted on social media. A long, rambling message about being deceived, hidden children, father's rights. He'd hired a new lawyer, claiming Monica had committed fraud by hiding Daniel's existence. He wants custody, Patricia read. And he's claiming half your company as marital assets. Monica felt the old fear creep in, then pushed it down. She wasn't that powerless woman anymore. Let him try, she said. The legal papers came within days. Jerome was seeking full custody of Daniel, partial custody of the girls, and 50% of Single Strong's value. His lawyer argued that Monica had hidden assets and a child, violating their divorce agreement. Monica's lawyer, Denise, was unimpressed. He's desperate and delusional. We have him on recording abandoning his daughters. His financial claims are baseless. The company was founded post-divorce. But the custody issue, that's trickier. He doesn't even know Daniel's name, Monica protested. Doesn't matter. Legally he's the father. He has rights. Rights he gave up when he kicked us out. Denise pulled out Monica's phone recordings. These are gold. But Monica, he'll make this ugly. He'll claim you're vindictive, that you poisoned the girls against him. You need to be prepared. The first hearing was a media circus. Monica walked in with her head high, ignoring the cameras. Jerome sat across the courtroom, his expensive suit unable to hide his diminished state. Brittany was nowhere to be seen. His lawyer painted Monica as calculating and cruel, hiding a son from his father. Monica's recordings played next, Jerome's voice filling the courtroom. Girls were just expensive mistakes. The judge, an older woman with kind eyes, listened to everything. Mr. Harrison, she finally said, you're asking for custody of a child you've never met, whose existence you just learned about, while having voluntarily had no contact with your 3 daughters for 2 years? I was denied the opportunity, Jerome started. Were you denied the opportunity to pay adequate child support? To call? To send birthday cards? Silence. Mrs. Harrison, the judge continued, while I don't approve of hiding a child's existence, I understand the circumstances. We'll order a DNA test to confirm paternity, then revisit custody arrangements. Outside the courthouse, Jerome approached. Monica, we can work this out privately. She looked at the man she'd once loved, searching for any remnant of who he used to be. There's nothing to work out. He's my son. My heir. He's a person, not property. And where was this concern for your heir when you were throwing us out? I made a mistake. You made choices. Now live with them. I'll fight for him. I'll fight for all of them. Monica stepped closer, her voice low but fierce. You can try. But I'm not the same woman you divorced. I have resources, recordings, and the truth. More importantly, those children don't know you. Don't love you. Don't need you. So fight if you want. You'll lose more than just the case. She walked away, her heart pounding but her stride confident. Behind her, she heard Jerome calling her name, but she didn't turn around. The war for her son had begun. But Monica had been fighting longer, harder, and for better reasons. She wouldn't lose now. The DNA test confirmed what everyone knew. Daniel was Jerome's son. But biology and fatherhood were different things, as Monica's lawyer argued brilliantly in court. Your Honor, Denise presented, we have here a father who explicitly stated he didn't want daughters, who abandoned his pregnant wife and 3 children with minimal support, who has made no attempt at contact in 2 years, and who only shows interest now that he's discovered he has a son and his ex-wife has money. The courtroom was packed. Media, single parents from the Single Strong community, and Jerome's family filled every seat. Monica sat straight, Daniel on her lap. She'd fought to have him there to show the judge who this was really about. Jerome's lawyer tried to paint a different picture. Mr. Harrison was deceived. Had he known about his son? Objection, Denise interrupted. Mr. Harrison's own words, recorded legally in New York as a one-party consent state, show he wanted nothing to do with any pregnancy from my client. The judge allowed the recordings to play again. This time new ones Monica had saved. Jerome telling his friends at a bar that Monica could keep the brats. Jerome laughing about being free from diaper duty and dance recitals. Jerome saying he'd finally gotten rid of the dead weight. Each word was a nail in his coffin. Then came the character witnesses. Mrs. Rodriguez testified about Monica's struggle, raising 4 children alone. Sophia's teacher spoke about the girls' essays, always about her mother's strength, never mentioning a father. The daycare provider described Daniel asking why other kids had daddies at pickup. Does the biological father wish to make a statement? The judge asked. Jerome stood, his prepared speech in hand. But as he looked at Daniel, who buried his face in Monica's shoulder at the stranger's attention, the words seemed to stick. I want to know my son, he managed. Why? The judge asked simply. Because he's mine. So are the 3 daughters you abandoned. When did you last see them? 2 years ago. Their birthdays? Silence. Their middle names? More silence. Mr. Harrison, you don't want a son. You want an heir. This court deals with children, not legacy planning. The final blow came from an unexpected source. Brittany, subpoenaed by Monica's lawyer, took the stand. He said the girls were mistakes, she testified, bitter from her own abandonment. Said boys were the only children worth having. He made me lie about being pregnant to justify the divorce faster. The judge had heard enough. Mr. Harrison, this court finds you voluntarily abandoned your children. You provided minimal support, no contact, and no care. The fact that you now know one child is male doesn't erase this abandonment. I hereby order you to pay 2 years of back child support at appropriate levels, $200,000. You'll have supervised visitation rights with all 4 children, if they agree and when a court-appointed therapist deems it appropriate. Mrs. Harrison maintains full custody. But the judge wasn't done. Furthermore, any claim to Mrs. Harrison's business assets is dismissed with prejudice. Single Strong was created post-divorce with no marital assets. Mr. Harrison, you wanted to be free of your family. The court has granted that wish. You're free of any claim to their success. The gavel came down. It was over. Jerome slumped in his chair while his lawyer whispered about appeals. Monica gathered Daniel and walked out, her daughters meeting her in the hallway. Did we win? Grace asked. We protected our family, Monica answered. Outside, reporters swarmed. Monica, how do you feel about the verdict? She paused, Daniel on her hip, her daughters surrounding her. I feel grateful. Grateful for the law that protected us, for the community that supported us, and mostly for these 4 amazing children who gave me the strength to fight. Will you let Jerome see the children? That's up to them and the therapist. I won't poison them against their father, but I won't force a relationship either. As they drove home, Sophia asked quietly, Mom, are you mad at Dad? Monica considered the question. No, baby. I'm not mad anymore. I'm free. That night, a notification popped up. Jerome's company had officially filed for bankruptcy. His assets were being liquidated, including the mansion they'd once shared. Monica looked at the listing, remembering the room where she'd discovered his betrayal, the driveway where he'd kicked them out, the nursery they'd decorated for Sophia 12 years ago. She made a decision. Patricia, she called. I need you to handle something quietly. Anything. I want to buy a house. The auction was private, handled through lawyers. Monica attended virtually, watching numbers climb as investors bid on Jerome's former pride. When the gavel fell, she'd won. The mansion where he'd betrayed her, where he'd kicked out his daughters, was now hers. She didn't tell the children immediately. Instead, she spent a month having it renovated. Every trace of Jerome and Brittany erased, replaced with warmth and light. The master bedroom became a library. The room where she'd watched the affair became Sophia's art studio. New memories to overwrite the old. We're going on an adventure, she told the kids one Saturday morning. They drove through their old neighborhood, the girls growing quiet as they recognized landmarks. Why are we here? Sophia asked suspiciously. Monica pulled into the familiar driveway. Because this is our house now. The silence was deafening. Then Faith exploded. The big house. Our old house. Our new house, Monica corrected. I bought it. We own it. No one can ever make us leave again. Grace started crying. Sophia looked angry. Daniel just clutched his toy truck, confused by his sister's emotions. We don't have to live here, Monica said quickly. We can stay at Grandma Rose's house. But I wanted you to have the choice. To know that we weren't kicked out anymore. We chose to leave. And we can choose to return. They explored slowly, the girls remembering and discovering simultaneously. The pool they'd learned to swim in. The tree they'd climbed. But also new spaces, a game room, a dance studio for Faith, a music room for Grace's new violin obsession. It's different, Sophia observed. Better. Different can be better, Monica agreed. They moved in gradually, keeping Grandma Rose's house as a rental property. The first night in the mansion, all 4 kids piled into Monica's bed, needing closeness in the big space. Single Strong continued growing. Monica launched a nonprofit arm, providing free legal resources for single parents. She named it the Rose Foundation after her grandmother. Speaking engagements multiplied. She shared her story at conferences, to Congress about family law reform on morning shows. But she always rushed home for bedtime, for homework help, for Daniel's toddler tantrums. One evening, while reviewing acquisition offers, Google was interested now, her phone rang. Unknown number. Monica? It's Jerome. She almost hung up. Please. I wanted to say congratulations. On everything. What do you want? Nothing. I have nothing left to want. Brittany left. The company's gone. I'm starting over, working at a dealership selling cars. The mighty Jerome Harrison selling Hondas. Monica felt nothing. I know about the house, he continued. That you bought it. That was cruel but fair. It wasn't about you. I know that too. Monica, I messed up. I threw away everything good for an illusion. Yes, you did. Can I see them? The kids? I know the court said supervised visits, but you haven't scheduled any. Because they haven't asked to see you. Silence stretched before he spoke again. Tell them I'm sorry. And that if they ever want to meet me, really meet me, I'll be here. I'll tell them. And Monica? You were right. About daughters. About everything. I see their pictures online sometimes. They're extraordinary. Like their mother. She hung up without responding. That night at dinner, she told the girls about the call. Dad wants to see us? Grace asked. If you want. No pressure either way. Does he want to see Daniel? Sophia asked protectively. He wants to see all of you. They sat quietly processing. Finally, Sophia spoke. Maybe someday. When we're ready. But not now. That's perfectly okay. Faith raised her hand like in school. Can we get a dog now? Dad was allergic. Monica laughed, really laughed. Yes, we can get a dog. As the kids erupted in excitement about potential pets, Monica felt a settling in her chest. This wasn't the family she'd planned, but it was the family she'd built. Strong, resilient, whole. Her phone buzzed. An email from Forbes. Congratulations, you've made our 40 under 40 list. She screenshotted to Patricia, who responded immediately. Time magazine wants you for their Person of the Year issue. The single mother who revolutionized support for single parents. Monica looked at her children, arguing about dog names while Daniel smeared mashed potatoes in his hair. This was success. This was victory. This was revenge served not cold, but transformed into something better. 5 years after the divorce, Monica stood on stage at the New York Stock Exchange, ringing the opening bell as Single Strong went public. Her children stood beside her, Sophia, now 15 and poised, Grace, 13 and artistic, Faith, 11 and theatrical, Daniel, 5 and fearless. The IPO valued the company at $2 billion. Monica's stake made her one of the wealthiest self-made women in tech. But the numbers meant less than the faces in the crowd, thousands of single parents whose lives had been touched by the platform. This isn't my success, she told the assembled media. It's ours. Every single parent who refused to give up, who built something from nothing, who proved that families come in all forms. In the crowd, she spotted someone unexpected. Jerome, grayer now, thinner, holding a small sign that read, "Proud of you." Their eyes met briefly. She nodded, nothing more, nothing less. Later, at the celebration, a man approached. Michael Chin, a venture capitalist she'd met at various events. Tall, kind-eyed, with an easy smile. Congratulations, Monica. You've built something remarkable. Thank you. She watched Daniel playing with Michael's son from his previous marriage. The boys had become friends at a conference daycare. I was wondering, Michael continued, if you'd like to have dinner sometime? Not business. Just dinner. Monica had dated occasionally, quietly, but nothing serious. She looked at Michael, really looked. He was a single father who understood her world, her priorities. I have 4 kids, she said, testing. I know. I have 2. 6 between us. We could start a basketball team. She laughed. Dinner sounds nice. A year later, they married in the backyard of the mansion, a small ceremony with just family and close friends. Michael's children blended seamlessly with hers. He never tried to replace Jerome, instead becoming his own presence, steady, supportive, present. Jerome had finally met the children by then, in therapy-supervised visits that slowly became less formal. He was different, humbled, careful, trying to earn what he'd thrown away. The girls remained cautious but civil. Daniel knew him as Mr. Jerome, a nice man who sometimes took them for ice cream. You did well, Jerome told Monica at Sophia's high school graduation. Despite me. Maybe because of my absence. We did well, Monica corrected, including the children. Michael joined them, shaking Jerome's hand without awkwardness. The complexity of modern families on full display. Single Strong expanded globally. The Rose Foundation opened centers in 12 cities. Monica's book, Rising Strong, A Single Mother's Guide to Building an Empire, topped bestseller lists. But the sweetest moment came quietly at home. Monica was working in her office when Daniel wandered in, now 6 and learning to read. Mom, he said, climbing onto her lap. James at school says I don't have a real dad because Dad Michael isn't my blood dad and Mr. Jerome doesn't live with us. Monica's heart clenched. What do you think? Daniel considered seriously. I think I have the best family. I have you and Dad Michael who teaches me soccer, and Mr. Jerome who tells funny stories, and all my sisters who boss me around. James only has one mom and one dad. That seems boring. She hugged him tightly. You're absolutely right. That evening, as the family gathered for dinner, her 4 children, Michael's 2, Michael himself, and Mrs. Rodriguez who'd become an honorary grandmother, Monica looked around the table. This wasn't the life she'd planned at 25, marrying Jerome in a white dress full of traditional dreams. This was better. Messier, harder one, more complex, but absolutely better. Her phone buzzed. A message from a single strong user. Your app saved my life. I was where you were 5 years ago. Today I launched my own business. Thank you for showing us we don't need to be rescued. We can rescue ourselves. Monica smiled, putting the phone away. Success wasn't about the IPO, the mansion, or even Jerome's regret. It was about transformation, taking the worst moment of your life and alchemizing it into strength. The ultimate revenge wasn't destroying Jerome. It was building something so beautiful that his betrayal became just a footnote in a much bigger story. He'd wanted a son to carry on his legacy. Instead, his abandonment created a legacy he could never have imagined: 4 remarkable children and a movement that changed millions of lives. Mom, Sophia called out. Daniel's feeding the dog under the table again. I am not. Daniel protested while clearly doing exactly that. Monica laughed, jumping into the beautiful chaos of her life. This was her empire. This was her revenge. This was her happily ever after, not perfect, not fairy tale, but absolutely, completely, wonderfully hers. The pink and gold balloons bobbed cheerfully against the ceiling as Destiny Washington opened another gift, her radiant smile lighting up the room full of friends and family. At 7 months pregnant, she glowed with maternal joy, her hands resting protectively over her rounded belly as she held up a tiny yellow onesie. Thank you so much, Aunt Beverly, she said warmly, adding the outfit to the growing pile of baby clothes beside her chair. The doorbell rang, cutting through the laughter and chatter. Destiny's younger sister Tiffany went to answer it, expecting more guests for the baby shower. Instead, 2 police officers stood on the porch, their expressions serious. We're looking for Destiny Washington, the taller officer said. Tiffany's smile faded. She's inside. What's this about? The officers pushed past her, entering the living room where the baby shower was in full swing. The room fell silent as everyone stared at the uniformed men. Destiny Washington? The officer asked, looking directly at her. Destiny struggled to stand, her pregnancy making the movement awkward. Yes, that's me. Is everything okay? You're under arrest for theft. You have the right to remain silent. Gasps echoed through the room. Destiny's mother, Pearl, jumped up from her seat. There must be some mistake. No mistake, ma'am. Her husband Robert Washington filed a report. She allegedly stole $250 from their joint bank account without permission. Destiny's face drained of color. Robert did this? But that's our money. I'm his wife. The officer approached with handcuffs. Please turn around, ma'am. She's 7 months pregnant. Tiffany shouted. You can't be serious. We have our orders, the officer replied, though he looked uncomfortable as he gently placed the handcuffs on Destiny's wrists, keeping them loose. Tears streamed down Destiny's face as she was led through her own baby shower, past the cake with tiny booties made of frosting, past the pile of gifts she'd never finish opening, past the shocked faces of everyone she loved. Her cousin Angela was already recording on her phone, hands shaking with anger. This is insane. She's pregnant. Please, Destiny begged as they guided her toward the door. Let me at least call Robert. This is a misunderstanding. You can make your phone call from the station, the officer said, though his voice had softened. Pearl grabbed her purse, her face set with determination. I'm following right behind you, baby. We'll sort this out. The last thing Destiny saw before the police car door closed was her baby shower banner still hanging cheerfully across the living room. Welcome, little one. The drive to the station felt endless. Destiny's mind raced, trying to understand what was happening. Yes, she'd taken $250 from their joint account, but it was for groceries and baby supplies. She'd done it countless times before. Robert had never said a word. At the station they processed her like any other criminal. Fingerprints. Mugshot. The whole humiliating process while her belly stretched her dress tight. Other people in the holding area stared at her obvious pregnancy with surprise and pity. "One phone call," the officer said, leading her to a phone. With shaking fingers, she dialed Robert's number. It rang once, twice, 3 times before going to voicemail. "Robert, what have you done?" she whispered into the phone. "I'm at the police station. I'm in jail. Our baby, please just come get me. Tell them this is a mistake." But hours passed and Robert never came. Her mother and sister arrived, frantic and furious, but bail wouldn't be set until Monday morning. It was Saturday evening. 2 nights, the desk sergeant said without sympathy. Judge doesn't work Sundays. They led Destiny to a cell, the reality of her situation crashing down. She was 7 months pregnant, and she was going to spend the weekend in jail because her husband had accused her of stealing their own money. Her cellmate, a woman named Brenda with knowing eyes, took one look at her belly and shook her head. "Let me guess. Your man put you here?" Destiny nodded, unable to speak through her tears. "Mine did the same thing 2 years ago," Brenda said. "Except I wasn't pregnant. Found out later he needed me out of the way for a weekend. Had his side chick coming to town." The words hit Destiny like ice water. She thought about Robert's recent behavior, working late, guards with his phone, less affectionate. But she'd attributed it all to stress about the baby coming. "No," she whispered. "Robert wouldn't." Brenda's laugh was bitter. "That's what we all say, honey. That's what we all say." The metal bunk was hard against Destiny's aching back. She hadn't slept at all, her baby kicking constantly as if sensing her distress. The jail uniform they'd given her barely stretched over her belly, and she had to leave it partially unzipped. Morning brought a breakfast of cold eggs and stale bread that made her nauseous. She forced herself to eat for the baby's sake, each bite feeling like sand in her mouth. "You need to keep your strength up," Brenda said, watching her struggle. "That baby doesn't care that you're in here." Destiny nodded, placing a protective hand over her belly. "I just can't believe Robert did this. We've been married 4 years. This is our first child. How long has he been acting different?" Brenda asked, sitting on her own bunk. Destiny thought back. "Maybe 2 months? He said work was stressing him out. His company is restructuring." 2 months, Brenda repeated. "That's usually when they meet someone new. Takes about that long for the guilt to turn into resentment toward us." A guard appeared at their cell. "Washington, you have a visitor." Hope surged through Destiny. Maybe Robert had come to his senses. But it was Tiffany waiting in the visitor room, her face puffy from crying. "I've been trying to reach Robert all night," Tiffany said through the glass partition. "His phone goes straight to voicemail. I went by your house, his car's gone." "Gone?" Destiny's heart sank. The neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, said she saw him leave with a suitcase yesterday afternoon. Right before the police came. Destiny felt the room spin. He'd planned this. He'd known exactly when the police would arrive at her baby shower for maximum humiliation. "Mama's working on bail money," Tiffany continued. "We'll have you out tomorrow morning, I promise. Patricia Coleman, that lawyer who helped cousin Denise, she's agreed to take your case." "I need you to do something for me," Destiny said, her voice steadier than she felt. "Go to the house. Check the credit card statements in Robert's desk drawer. Check everything." Tiffany nodded. "Already on it. Angela's there now with her husband. They're documenting everything." After Tiffany left, Destiny was returned to her cell. The hours crawled by. Other women came and went, most for minor offenses. Each one looked at her pregnant belly with the same mixture of pity and anger. "You shouldn't be here," one woman said bluntly. "Whatever you did, they should have given you house arrest or something." "I took money from my own bank account," Destiny said, the absurdity of it hitting her anew. "My husband reported it as theft." The woman cursed colorfully. "And they wonder why we don't trust the system." That night, Destiny developed cramping. Panic seized her as she called for the guard. "I need a doctor," she gasped. "Something's wrong with my baby." The medical check was basic at best. The nurse at least seemed concerned, checking her vitals and the baby's heartbeat. "Stress," the nurse said quietly. "You need to stay calm for your baby. I'm going to recommend immediate release on medical grounds, but it's Sunday. Nothing will happen until tomorrow." "Tomorrow might be too late," Destiny whispered. The nurse squeezed her hand. "Your baby's heartbeat is strong. Just breathe, rest as much as you can. I'll check on you every few hours." True to her word, the nurse returned regularly. By Sunday night, the cramps had eased, but Destiny knew she couldn't take much more. Her baby needed her to be strong, to be somewhere safe. Brenda had been released Sunday afternoon, but before she left, she'd given Destiny advice that would prove invaluable. Document everything. Every pain, every moment of fear, every single thing they put you through. Make them pay for doing this to you while you're carrying a baby. Destiny borrowed a pencil and paper from another inmate and began writing. 3 days in jail while 7 months pregnant. Inadequate medical care. Emotional distress. False accusations. She wrote until her hand cramped, documenting every detail of her ordeal. Monday morning couldn't come fast enough. When the guard finally came to release her, Destiny could barely stand. She'd lost weight in just 3 days, her face gaunt with stress and lack of sleep. Tiffany and Pearl were waiting, both of them crying as they helped her walk out of the building. "Never again," Pearl said fiercely. "That man will never hurt you again." As they drove away from the jail, Destiny looked back once. 3 days had felt like 3 years. But something had changed inside her during those long hours. The scared, trusting wife who'd entered that place was gone. In her place was someone harder, someone who wouldn't be fooled again. "Did you find anything at the house?" she asked Tiffany. Her sister's face darkened. "Oh, we found something all right. Robert's been busy." The house felt different when Destiny walked through the front door. Same furniture, same photos on the walls, but the warmth was gone. It was just walls and things now, no longer a home. Angela was waiting in the living room with a box of documents. "Sit down, cousin. You need to see this." Destiny lowered herself onto the couch, her body still aching from the jail bunks. Tiffany brought her water and a sandwich, insisting she eat before they talked. "The credit card statements first," Angela said, spreading papers on the coffee table. "That $250 you supposedly stole? Look at this." She pointed to a charge from 3 days before Destiny's arrest. "Marcello's Jewelers. $248. "I never got any jewelry," Destiny said, confusion clear in her voice. "We know. We called the store. They remembered Robert. He bought pearl earrings. Said they were a gift for someone special." The words hung in the air like poison. Destiny grabbed the statement, studying it with the focus of someone who'd done the household books for years. "There's more," she said, her finger tracking down the charges. "Restaurants I've never been to. Hotel charges when he was supposedly at a conference in Houston." "That conference was in Dallas," Pearl said grimly. "I remembered because you wanted to go with him but couldn't get off work." Tiffany pulled out her phone. "Mrs. Patterson next door has been very helpful. She's seen a woman coming by when you're at work. Silver Honda Civic, arrives around lunch, leaves before you get home." "Description?" Destiny asked, though her heart already knew. "Light-skinned, long weave, always dressed like she's going to a club instead of someone's house in the suburbs." Destiny closed her eyes. "Monica." "Who?" Angela leaned forward. "Monica Reeves. She works in Robert's department. I met her at the company Christmas party. She kept touching his arm when she laughed, but Robert said I was being paranoid." "Not paranoid," Angela said. "We found this in his desk. It was a receipt for a storage unit rental, dated 2 months ago. The same time frame when Robert had started acting strange." "He's been moving stuff out," Destiny said, the pieces falling into place. "Planning to leave. But he wanted you gone first," Pearl said. "Needed you out of the way to finish whatever he was planning." Destiny stood up despite her exhaustion, moving to Robert's home office. The desktop computer was still there and she knew his password, or at least she knew what it used to be. It worked. He hadn't even bothered to change it. His email was open and there it was in his sent folder. Messages to Monica going back 3 months. The most recent one made her blood run cold. "Baby, just 1 more week and we can stop hiding. Dee will be out of the picture by Saturday, and I can file the papers while she's inside. By the time she gets out, everything will be done. The baby thing is unfortunate, but I never wanted it anyway." That was all her idea. Destiny printed the email, her hands steady despite the rage building inside her. She printed them all, every message, every "I love you," every plan they'd made while she was preparing for their baby. "He never wanted the baby," she whispered, hand going to her belly. "His loss," Tiffany said fiercely. "This baby will have more love from us than he could ever give." They spent the rest of the day gathering evidence. Bank records showing Robert had opened a separate account 3 months ago. Photographs from his social media that he thought he'd hidden, showing him and Monica at various locations. The storage unit receipt that probably contained things he'd already removed from the house. By evening they had a box full of ammunition. Patricia Coleman arrived at 7, a tall, formidable woman in her 50s with silver hair and sharp eyes. "I've reviewed the arrest report," she said without preamble. "This is one of the most egregious cases of spousal abuse I've seen, and I've seen plenty. Abuse? Destiny questioned. He never hit me. Having you arrested while 7 months pregnant on false charges is abuse, Patricia said firmly. Endangering your unborn child is abuse. Financial manipulation is abuse. We're going to nail him to the wall. She reviewed all the evidence they'd gathered, occasionally making approving noises. This is excellent. The emails especially. He's admitted in writing that he planned this, that he never wanted the child, and that he was trying to get you out of the picture. Any prosecutor worth their salt will see this as conspiracy. Conspiracy? Pearl asked. To file a false police report, to endanger a pregnant woman and her unborn child, to commit fraud. Your son-in-law is looking at potential jail time, not just a civil suit. Destiny felt a flutter of satisfaction. Good. But first, Patricia continued, we need to secure your immediate safety and financial security. Has he frozen any accounts? Destiny checked her banking app. The joint account is empty. He withdrew everything while I was in jail. Document it. We'll add theft to his charges. What about the house? Both our names are on it. Then he can't sell it without you. I'll file an emergency order preventing him from entering the property. Where is he now? We don't know. He's not answering anyone's calls. Patricia smiled, and it wasn't a pleasant expression. Oh, he'll surface. They always do when they think the coast is clear. When he does, we'll be ready. Patricia Coleman's office occupied the top floor of a downtown building, all glass and steel with a view of the city skyline. Destiny sat across from her, feeling small in the large leather chair despite her pregnant belly. First things first, Patricia said, sliding a document across the desk. This is a restraining order. Robert cannot come within 500 feet of you or your residence. Destiny signed without hesitation. Now let's talk strategy. Patricia pulled up a presentation on her laptop. We're pursuing both criminal and civil charges. Criminal for the false police report and endangerment. Civil for emotional distress, false imprisonment, and defamation. Defamation? You were arrested at your baby shower in front of family and friends. Your reputation was damaged. We have video from your cousin Angela showing the arrest. It's been shared over 300 times on social media already. Destiny winced. She hadn't thought about the social media aspect. That's actually good for us, Patricia assured her. Public opinion matters. Robert humiliated you publicly, so we'll ensure everyone knows the truth. I just want him to pay for what he did, Destiny said quietly. He will. I've seen the bank records. He withdrew $16,000 from your joint savings while you were incarcerated. That's theft, plain and simple. 16,000? Destiny gasped. That was for the baby. Medical expenses, nursery furniture, everything. And now it's evidence of his malicious intent. He didn't just want you gone for a weekend, he wanted to leave you with nothing. Patricia's assistant knocked and entered. Miss Coleman, I have the investigator's report you requested. Excellent timing. Patricia opened the file, scanning quickly. Well, Mr. Washington has been busy. She showed Destiny a series of photographs. Robert and Monica entering a hotel. Robert moving boxes into a storage unit. Robert and Monica at a car dealership, looking at vehicles together. When were these taken? Destiny asked. Yesterday. He's not hiding anymore, thinks he's won. There was something else in the file. A rental agreement for an apartment across town, dated a week ago. He signed a lease before having me arrested, Destiny said, the premeditation clear. With Monica Reeves as co-signer, Patricia noted. This just gets better and better for our case. She pulled out another document. I've also discovered something interesting about Mr. Washington's employment. Did you know his company has a morality clause? Destiny shook her head. Any employee in a management position who brings disrepute to the company can be terminated. Having his pregnant wife falsely arrested certainly qualifies. I don't want to ruin his life, Destiny said, then caught herself. Actually, yes I do. Patricia smiled approvingly. That's the spirit. Now, I've scheduled a meeting with the district attorney tomorrow. Given that you were 7 months pregnant and experienced medical distress while incarcerated, they're taking this very seriously. Could he really go to jail? It's possible. Filing a false police report is a misdemeanor, but endangering an unborn child elevates it. Add in the theft and fraud, and yes, Robert could face jail time. Destiny felt her baby kick as if in approval. What about Monica? She asked. She was part of this. If we can prove she knew about and participated in the plan, she could be charged as an accomplice. Those emails suggest she did. Patricia's phone buzzed. She looked at it and smiled. Speaking of Monica, my investigator just sent something interesting. She's married. What? Destiny stared at the lawyer. Separated but still legally married. Her husband lives in Fort Worth. I bet he'd be very interested to know what his wife has been up to. This is all so much, Destiny said, overwhelmed. Patricia's expression softened. I know. But remember, he started this war. We're just making sure you win it. What's next? We serve him with divorce papers. I've already drawn them up. You're seeking full custody, the house, alimony, and damages for emotional distress. Will I get all that? With the evidence we have? I'd be shocked if you didn't. Texas doesn't look kindly on men who endanger pregnant women. Destiny signed the divorce papers, her signature firm and decisive. Where do we serve him? She asked. Patricia's smile was predatory. At his office. Tomorrow at noon, when all his colleagues will be returning from lunch. Maximum witnesses. That seems cruel, Destiny said, then remembered her 3 nights in jail. Perfect. Do it. There's one more thing, Patricia said. The local news station contacted me. They want to interview you about your experience. It's your choice, but public pressure can be powerful. Destiny thought about other pregnant women who might face similar situations. I'll do it. Good. We'll prep you first, make sure you're ready. Now go home and rest. Tomorrow, Robert Washington's world starts falling apart. As Destiny left the office, she felt something she hadn't experienced in days: hope. She wasn't just going to survive this. She was going to thrive. The private investigator Patricia hired was named Jerome Butler, a former cop with kind eyes and a professional demeanor. He sat in Destiny's living room, laptop open, showing her weeks of surveillance. Your husband wasn't as clever as he thought, Jerome said, clicking through files. He used his company credit card for several meetings with Ms. Reeves. Company card? Destiny leaned forward, careful of her belly. Dinners, hotels, even a weekend trip to Austin. All expensed to the company as client meetings. That's fraud. Each photo was time-stamped. Robert and Monica at an expensive steakhouse while Destiny was home with morning sickness. Robert and Monica shopping for furniture while Destiny was at a prenatal appointment. The betrayal was documented in high definition. This one's interesting, Jerome said, pulling up a video. This is from 2 weeks before your arrest. The grainy security footage showed Robert at a bank withdrawing cash. The timestamp showed 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. He told me he was in meetings all day, Destiny said quietly. He made several large cash withdrawals over 3 weeks. Harder to trace than cards. Total of $8,000. Tiffany, who'd been quietly taking notes, suddenly spoke up. Can you check something? The day Destiny was arrested, where was Robert? Jerome pulled up more files. According to his phone's GPS, he was at Monica Reeves' apartment from 3 p.m. until 8 p.m. The arrest was at 4, Destiny said, the cruelty hitting her again. He was with her while I was being handcuffed. There's more, Jerome said apologetically. I spoke to some of his co-workers. Discreetly. Monica's been telling people she's pregnant. The words hit Destiny like a physical blow. Tiffany immediately moved to her side, arms around her shoulders. Pregnant. Destiny whispered. About 2 months, according to office gossip. Which would mean she got pregnant while I was struggling with my pregnancy, Destiny finished. That's why he wanted me gone. Pearl, who'd been silent until now, stood up. That man is evil. Pure evil. It explains the urgency, Jerome said. He needed you out of the picture before Monica started showing. A divorce would take too long. So he had me arrested instead, Destiny said, anger replacing hurt. Thought I'd be so broken I'd just disappear. He underestimated you, Jerome said with admiration. Most people would have crumbled. You're building a case. Destiny's phone rang. It was Patricia. Turn on Channel 7, the lawyer said without preamble. The local news was running a segment on false arrests. Destiny's story was the lead, complete with the video from her baby shower. Local woman Destiny Washington was 7 months pregnant when police arrested her at her own baby shower, the anchor said. Her crime? Taking money from a joint bank account she shared with her husband. Now questions are being raised about why prosecutors pursued such a case. The segment included interviews with legal experts, all condemning the arrest. One called it a shocking abuse of the justice system. Robert's boss just called me, Patricia said through the phone. They're opening an internal investigation into his expense account. Seems your story made them look closer at their star employee. After the call, Jerome continued his presentation. I've also been investigating Monica Reeves. She's got a history. What kind of history? Tiffany asked. 2 previous relationships with married men. Both ended when the wives found out. One of them pressed charges for alienation of affection. Can we contact them? Destiny asked. Already did. Both are willing to testify about her pattern of behavior. One of them, Sandra Mitchell, says Monica actually bragged about knowing how to get rid of wives. Destiny felt sick. This was all planned. From the beginning, Jerome confirmed. But they made mistakes. Lots of them. He showed them Monica's social media. She'd been careless, posting photos from dates with Robert, though he was carefully cropped out. But in one photo, his reflection was visible in a wine glass. She also posted this 3 days ago, Jerome said, showing a status update. Sometimes you have to remove obstacles to get what you deserve. #winning #new beginnings. The audacity, Pearl muttered. It's evidence, Jerome corrected. She's admitting to removing obstacles. Given the timing, any jury would connect that to Destiny's arrest. Angela arrived with food in her laptop. I've been coordinating with the social media campaign. The hashtag Justice for Destiny is trending locally. Over 10,000 shares of the arrest video. Is that good? Destiny asked. It's very good. Robert's company is getting flooded with calls asking why they employ someone who'd endanger a pregnant woman. Their Facebook page is getting destroyed in the comments. Destiny's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. She opened it carefully. You're a lying B*********. Stop trying to ruin Robert's life. He's finally happy. Monica, she said, showing the others. Save it, Jerome said immediately. That's harassment. We'll add it to the file. Patricia texted that she needed one more piece of evidence. Can you get into Robert's home office computer again? I need his work emails. Destiny went to the office, logging into Robert's computer. His work email was still synced. There was emails between him and Monica on company time, using company email. Discussions of their relationship, their plans, even mentions of the pregnancy. He's done, Jerome said, reading over her shoulder. Using company resources for personal relationships is grounds for termination. Destiny forwarded everything to Patricia, then logged out. She was done with Robert's secrets. Soon everyone would know them. The process server Patricia hired was a young woman named Kayla who looked like she could be an intern. That was the point, Robert wouldn't see her coming. Destiny watched from her car across the street from Robert's office building, Tiffany beside her. It was 11:55 a.m. on Thursday, and employees were streaming back from lunch. There, Tiffany pointed. Robert walked confidently through the plaza, Monica beside him. They weren't even trying to hide anymore, her hand on his arm, both laughing at something on his phone. Kayla moved toward them, papers in hand. Robert Washington? Yes. He looked annoyed at the interruption. You've been served. She handed him the envelope and walked away quickly. Robert's face went from confused to pale as he opened the papers right there in the plaza. Monica peered over his shoulder, her expression shifting from curious to alarmed. Several of Robert's co-workers had stopped to watch, sensing drama. One was definitely recording on his phone. No, Robert said loudly, looking around wildly. She can't do this. That's when he spotted Destiny's car. Their eyes met across the distance, and Destiny didn't look away. She wanted him to see her, to know she was watching his world crumble. Robert started toward the car, but Monica grabbed his arm. They appeared to argue, Monica gesturing at the papers, Robert trying to pull away. Should we go? Tiffany asked. Not yet, Destiny said, watching as more co-workers gathered. A security guard approached Robert, probably alerted by the commotion. Robert was gesturing wildly, pointing at Destiny's car, but the guard seemed more concerned with calming him down. Then Robert's boss, Mr. Harrison, emerged from the building. Even from across the street, Destiny could see his stern expression as he took in the scene. Robert being restrained by Monica, papers scattered on the ground, employees recording everything. Mr. Harrison said something that made Robert go still. Then he pointed back at the building. Robert picked up the papers and followed him inside, Monica trailing behind uncertainly. Now we can go, Destiny said, starting the car. 20 minutes later, Patricia called. Robert's been placed on administrative leave pending investigation. Apparently, his scene in the plaza was the last straw after the expense account audit. What about Monica? Also suspended. Turns out she's been falsifying her timesheets, claiming overtime while she was with Robert. That evening, Destiny got a call from an unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Destiny? This is Caroline Harrison, Robert's boss's wife." Destiny was surprised. She'd met Caroline a few times at company events. "I wanted you to know that I'm disgusted by what Robert did," Caroline said. "And I wanted to tell you that my husband has recommended termination. A man who would endanger his pregnant wife has no place in our company." "Thank you," Destiny managed. "I also wanted you to know that Monica's been escorted from the building." Security found personal items in Robert's office, suggesting they'd been using it for non-work activities. After the call, Destiny felt a weight lifting. Robert's carefully constructed world was falling apart, just as he'd tried to destroy hers. That night, Robert called 15 times. Destiny didn't answer. He left increasingly desperate voicemails. "Destiny, please, we need to talk. This is going too far. Call off your lawyer. You're going to ruin both our lives. Think about the baby." The last one made her angry enough to text back, "You didn't think about the baby when you had me arrested." His response was immediate, "That was a mistake," Monica said. So Monica had been involved in planning her arrest. Destiny screenshot the text and sent it to Patricia. The next morning, Monica showed up at the house. Destiny watched through the security camera as she pounded on the door. "I know you're in there," Monica shouted. "You've ruined everything. He was going to leave you anyway." Tiffany called the police while Destiny recorded everything on her phone. "You think you've won?" Monica continued. "I'm pregnant with his baby. He'll always be connected to me." When the police arrived, Monica was still ranting. They arrested her for violating the restraining order that included agents acting on Robert's behalf. As the police car drove away with Monica in the back, Destiny felt satisfaction but not joy. She was 8 months pregnant now, exhausted from the stress, but determined to see this through. Patricia called that afternoon. "Robert's been terminated. Monica too. My sources say they're both being blacklisted in the industry." "Good," Destiny said, meaning it. "The criminal charges have been filed. The DA is confident about prosecution. Robert's looking at possible jail time, Destiny. After what he put me through. I hope he gets it. There's one more thing. Monica's husband contacted me. He wants to thank you for exposing her affair. Apparently this helps his divorce case immensely." Small victories, Destiny thought. She was taking everything from Robert, just as he tried to take everything from her. 3 weeks had passed since the divorce papers were served. Destiny was now heavily pregnant, due in just a few weeks, but she wasn't slowing down. If anything, she was more determined than ever. The criminal case was moving forward. Robert had hired a lawyer, an expensive one, which Patricia found amusing. "He's spending his last savings on legal fees," she told Destiny during their meeting. "Meanwhile, we have him dead to rights." The news coverage had exploded beyond local media. A national morning show wanted to interview Destiny about her experience. She agreed, knowing the more public pressure, the better. The interview was powerful. Destiny, visibly pregnant, calmly explained how her husband had orchestrated her arrest while she was 7 months pregnant, all to be with another woman. "He knew the police would come during my baby shower," she said to the host. "He wanted maximum humiliation." The host was visibly appalled. "And you spent 3 days in jail?" "3 days. I experienced cramping. I thought I might lose my baby." Meanwhile, he was with his mistress, spending the money he'd stolen from our accounts. The interview went viral. Within hours, it had millions of views. Robert's name was trending on social media, and not in a good way. That afternoon, Robert's lawyer contacted Patricia. "My client wants to negotiate." "Negotiate what?" Patricia laughed. "He has nothing to negotiate with. He's willing to give Ms. Washington the house and primary custody if she drops the criminal charges." "Things he's already going to lose?" "No deal." Destiny was at home when Robert showed up, despite the restraining order. She saw him on the security camera looking haggard. He'd lost weight, his usually perfect appearance disheveled. She called 911 immediately. "Destiny, please?" Robert shouted at the door. "I've lost everything. My job, my reputation. Monica left me." "Monica left him?" That was news. "She was only with me for the money." Robert continued. "When she found out I was broke, she went back to her husband." Destiny recorded everything on her phone. This would be useful for court. "I'm sorry." Robert was actually crying now. "I made a mistake. Please don't let them send me to jail." The police arrived quickly, arresting Robert for violating the restraining order. As they led him away, he looked back at the house with genuine despair. Angela, who'd been staying with Destiny, shook her head. The nerve of him playing victim. That evening, Patricia called with interesting news. Monica's been arrested. Her husband provided evidence that she's done this before, broken up marriages for money. He's been tracking her activities for years. So I wasn't the first? You were the third. But you're the first to fight back effectively. The other wives just divorced quietly and disappeared. Destiny felt proud of that distinction. A week later, at the preliminary hearing for the criminal case, Destiny saw Robert for the first time since his arrest at her house. He looked terrible, gray, thin, defeated. Monica was there too with her own lawyer. She kept shooting angry looks at Robert, clearly blaming him for her predicament. The prosecutor laid out the evidence: the premeditated false police report, the endangerment of a pregnant woman, the theft of marital assets, the conspiracy between Robert and Monica. When the judge reviewed the evidence, particularly the emails and texts between Robert and Monica planning Destiny's arrest, his expression was stern. "Mr. Washington," the judge said, "I've seen many cases of domestic disputes, but deliberately having your 7 months pregnant wife arrested on false charges is one of the most callous acts I've encountered." Robert's lawyer tried to argue that it was a misunderstanding, that Robert genuinely believed Destiny had taken money without permission. The prosecutor destroyed that argument with Robert's own emails admitting he knew it was their joint money and that he needed her out of the picture. "Trial is set for next month," the judge announced. "Mr. Washington, you're released on bail with the condition that you maintain distance from Ms. Washington and make no attempt to contact her." After court, Destiny's water broke. The timing was surreal, from courtroom to delivery room. 12 hours later, she gave birth to a healthy baby girl. She named her Grace. Robert wasn't there, of course. But Pearl, Tiffany, Angela, and even Patricia, who'd become more than just a lawyer, were. The room was full of love and support. Meanwhile, across town, Robert sat alone in his cheap apartment, the one he'd rented with Monica. She'd moved out the day after losing her job, leaving him with a lease he couldn't afford. He'd learn about his daughter's birth from social media, where Destiny's supporters celebrated the arrival of baby Grace with joy and relief that she was healthy despite all the stress. The criminal trial began when Grace was 6 weeks old. Destiny entered the courtroom carrying her daughter, a powerful image that wasn't lost on the jury. Robert's lawyer had advised him to plead guilty to lesser charges, but his arrogance wouldn't allow it. He insisted on fighting, certain he could convince a jury that this was all a misunderstanding. That was his biggest mistake. The prosecutor, ADA James Mitchell, was thorough and ruthless. He presented the timeline with precision: Robert opening secret bank accounts, beginning his affair with Monica, planning the arrest, and stealing marital assets while Destiny was in jail. "This wasn't a momentary lapse in judgment," Mitchell told the jury. "This was a calculated campaign to destroy his pregnant wife's life so he could start over with his mistress." The evidence was overwhelming. Bank records, emails, text messages, security footage, and witness testimony painted a clear picture of conspiracy. When Monica took the stand as a witness for the prosecution, she'd made a deal for lighter charges. She threw Robert completely under the bus. "It was all his idea," she said, not meeting Robert's furious gaze. "He said his wife was crazy, that she'd stolen money before. I believed him." The prosecutor presented evidence that Monica had known exactly what was happening, but the jury was more interested in Robert's culpability. When Destiny testified, she was calm and dignified. She described the humiliation of being arrested at her baby shower, the fear during those 3 nights in jail, the medical distress that could have cost Grace's life. "I kept thinking I was going to lose my baby," she said, tears flowing. "All because my husband wanted to be with someone else and didn't have the decency to ask for a divorce." Several jury members were visibly moved. One woman was crying. Robert's testimony was a disaster. He came across as arrogant and unrepentant, trying to justify his actions by claiming Destiny was controlling with money. "So your solution was to have your pregnant wife arrested?" the prosecutor asked. "I didn't think she'd actually be kept in jail," Robert said. "You didn't think, or you didn't care?" Robert had no good answer. Character witnesses for Destiny included her doctor, who testified about the risk the stress had posed to her pregnancy, and the jail nurse, who described Destiny's medical distress during incarceration. The jury deliberated for only 3 hours. "Guilty on all counts," the foreman announced. Robert's face went white. His lawyer patted his shoulder, but it was over. At sentencing 2 weeks later, the judge didn't hold back. Mr. Washington, you showed a callous disregard not only for your wife but for your unborn child. Your actions could have resulted in tragedy. The fact that Ms. Washington delivered a healthy baby is despite your actions, not because you showed any mercy. Robert was sentenced to 18 months in prison, 3 years probation, and ordered to pay $100,000 in restitution. As court officers led Robert away in handcuffs, he looked back at Destiny holding Grace. For a moment their eyes met. Destiny felt no sympathy, only relief that justice had been served. Monica received 6 months probation and community service. Her husband divorced her and she left town shortly after. The civil case was settled quickly after the criminal conviction. Destiny got the house, full custody of Grace, substantial alimony, and a large settlement for emotional distress. You've won everything, Patricia told her over champagne, sparkling juice for Destiny who was breastfeeding. Not everything, Destiny corrected. I lost my ability to trust. But I gained something better, my freedom and self-respect. The news covered Robert's sentencing extensively. His fall from grace was complete, from successful executive to convicted felon. His former colleagues were interviewed, most expressing shock but also saying there had been signs of his arrogance and entitlement. He always thought rules didn't apply to him, one said. Meanwhile, Destiny focused on healing and raising Grace. The baby was thriving, a happy child who would never know the drama surrounding her birth. Support poured in from across the country. Women who'd experienced similar betrayals reached out with their stories. Destiny realized she'd become a symbol of fighting back against domestic abuse. You gave us hope, one woman wrote. You showed us we don't have to accept being victims. 1 year later, Destiny stood in front of a room full of people at the Small Business Development Center. Grace, now 14 months old, played quietly in her playpen in the corner. Starting your own business after trauma might seem impossible, Destiny said to the audience. But I'm proof that your worst moment can become your launching pad. She'd used the settlement money to start her own accounting firm, specializing in helping women manage finances during and after divorce. Business was booming. Her first client had been Sandra Mitchell, one of Monica's previous victims. Word spread quickly, and soon Destiny had more clients than she could handle alone. She hired 2 employees, a young accountant named Jasmine and a paralegal named Brittany who'd also been through a nasty divorce. We're not just managing money, Destiny told them during their first team meeting. We're helping women reclaim their financial power. The office was in a renovated building downtown, bright and welcoming with a play area for clients' children. Destiny had insisted on that. She knew how hard it was to handle business with a baby. Robert was still in prison. She'd heard through the legal grapevine that he was having a hard time. Former white-collar executives didn't do well in jail, especially ones convicted of endangering pregnant women. Destiny didn't care about his struggles. She'd stopped thinking about Robert months ago, except when legal matters required it. Grace was walking now, a beautiful toddler with Destiny's eyes and smile. She had no father on her birth certificate. Destiny had successfully petitioned to have Robert's parental rights terminated due to his criminal conviction and endangerment. Mama? Grace called from her playpen holding up a toy. Yes, baby, Destiny smiled, continuing her presentation. That's beautiful. After the seminar, a woman approached her. Ms. Washington, I'm going through something similar. My husband had me arrested on false charges. I'm scared. Destiny handed her a business card. Call my office. We'll help you get your finances separated safely. And here's Patricia Coleman's card, she's the best lawyer in town for these cases. The woman's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. This happened often. Destiny had become a resource, a beacon for women in crisis. Tiffany had started a nonprofit organization called Freedom After False Charges, with Destiny as the main sponsor. They'd helped dozens of women in similar situations. On weekends, Destiny and Grace visited Pearl, who'd become the ultimate grandmother. The house was always full of family, love, and laughter, everything Robert had tried to steal from them. One Saturday while at the park with Grace, Destiny ran into Mrs. Patterson, her old neighbor. Destiny, you look wonderful, the elderly woman exclaimed. And Grace is getting so big. Thank you. How have you been? Good. Did you hear? They're finally selling that storage unit Robert rented. Apparently, he never paid after going to prison and they're auctioning the contents. Destiny felt mild curiosity. Really? My nephew works there. Says it's mostly expensive suits and electronics. Things he thought he'd need for his new life. Instead, those suits were rotting in storage while Robert wore orange. Poetic justice. That evening, Patricia called with news. Robert's requesting early release for good behavior. Can he get it? Possibly. But he'll still be a felon, still owe restitution, and still have no rights to Grace. Let him out, Destiny said. He has nothing to come back to. And it was true. Robert's life as he'd known it was over. His career, reputation, relationships, all destroyed by his own cruelty. Meanwhile, Destiny's life was flourishing. Her business had grown enough to move to a larger office. She'd been featured in a national magazine as one of 40 under 40 entrepreneurs to watch. The article mentioned her story briefly, focusing more on her business acumen and success. That's what she wanted, to be known for her achievements, not just her trauma. Grace was enrolled in an excellent daycare, thriving and happy. She had aunts in Tiffany and Angela, a grandmother in Pearl, and a village of support. Sometimes Destiny thought about dating again, but she wasn't ready. Trust would take time to rebuild. For now, she was content with her daughter, her business, and her freedom. 2 years after the trial, Destiny stood in her new office building. She'd just closed on the property, a beautiful 3-story structure that would house her expanded firm. Washington Financial Services, the sign read. She employed 15 people now, all women who'd faced financial abuse or abandonment. Grace, now 3, was at preschool, a bright and confident child who knew she was loved. She'd never once asked about her father. Her world was complete with the family she had. The local news was there to cover the grand opening. The reporter asked, "Ms. Washington, how does it feel to have come so far from that difficult time?" "Every challenge was a lesson," Destiny replied. "I learned my strength, my worth, and my capability. I wouldn't change anything because it led me here." What she didn't mention was who she'd seen that morning. She'd been getting coffee at her usual spot when Robert walked in. He'd been out for 6 months, according to Patricia. He looked older, grayer, diminished. He'd seen her too, freezing in the doorway. Destiny had simply turned back to the barista, collected her coffee, and walked past him without acknowledgement. She'd heard he was working at a call center, the only job he could get with a felony conviction. Monica had married her ex-husband again and moved to California. They'd destroyed each other's lives for nothing. At the grand opening, someone special arrived, Jerome Butler, the private investigator who'd helped build her case. But he wasn't there professionally. Over the past year, they'd developed a friendship that had slowly grown into something more. Jerome had been patient, understanding that Destiny needed time. "Congratulations," he said, handing her flowers. "You deserve all of this." Grace ran to him. Uncle Jerome. He'd become a fixture in their lives, never pushing, just being present and supportive. He was everything Robert hadn't been: honest, kind, and genuinely happy for Destiny's success. "Would you like to have dinner with us tonight?" Destiny asked. "To celebrate?" "I'd love that," Jerome smiled. Pearl, watching from across the room, nodded approvingly. She'd been skeptical at first, but Jerome had won her over with his consistency and respect for Destiny's boundaries. That evening, the news ran a special segment on successful female entrepreneurs. Destiny's story was featured prominently, but the focus was on her business achievements, not her past trauma. The reporter mentioned briefly that she'd overcome personal challenges to build her empire, but the emphasis was on her innovative business model and commitment to helping other women. As Destiny watched the segment at home, Grace curled up beside her and Jerome sitting nearby, she felt complete. This was success, not just the money or the business, but the peace, the family, the freedom. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. She almost deleted it, then recognized the area code. It was from the prison. "Destiny, I know you hate me, but I need you to know I'm sorry. I see Grace on your company website. She's beautiful. I destroyed everything for nothing. Monica played me and I fell for it. You were the best thing in my life and I threw it away. I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know that I know what I lost. Robert." Destiny read it once, then deleted it. Robert's regret meant nothing to her now. "Everything okay?" Jerome asked, noticing her expression. "Everything's perfect," she said, meaning it. Later, as she tucked Grace into bed, her daughter asked, "Mama, are you happy?" "Yes, baby. Happier than I've ever been." And it was true. The woman who'd been arrested at her baby shower, humiliated and betrayed, was gone. In her place stood a successful businesswoman, a loving mother, and a survivor who'd turned pain into power. The next morning's newspaper featured her on the business page. Washington Financial Services expands, CEO credits success to helping others rise. The article mentioned that her firm had helped over 500 women secure financial independence. Each success story was a small revenge against those who thought women could be discarded and destroyed. Robert would have seen that article. He would have seen what Destiny had become without him, no, because of what he'd done to her. His cruelty had forged her into something stronger than she'd ever imagined she could be. But Destiny didn't think about Robert anymore. He was a footnote in her story, the villain who'd inadvertently created a hero. As she walked into her building that morning, employees greeting her warmly, Grace's laughter echoing from the office daycare, Jerome texting about weekend plans, Destiny smiled. This was her revenge, not just surviving but thriving. Not just rebuilding but creating something bigger and better than what she'd lost. Robert had sent her to jail for $250. She'd built $1 million business from his betrayal. Now that was justice.